Chapter 131. The divine tree closed his two eyes and opened his mouth wide, screaming in pain as if he was using all his strength. In front of the ancient monster at this moment, a yellow smoke and fire swarm like honey is rolling in front of his eyes, completely obscuring the divine tree from view. However, the enormous power from this chaotic yellow mass truly made the ancient monster watching it stunned, not daring to move, because moving has cost him too much already. The ancient monster silently observed, only knowing how to clench his teeth in tension, because this smoke and force spread around, becoming more and more intense day by day, as if containing a terrible power. This column of smoke and fire, when viewed from afar, has risen hundreds of meters into the sky, higher than the tallest buildings in the city of Jir. This process has been completed, the divine tree is exhausted, trying to breathe, all the yellow honey-colored air has been absorbed, leaving only a hazy dust in space. The ancient monster with a painful and scarred face, looking intently at the divine tree in the dust, quickly discovered something strange, a very strong breath with an unusual taste compared to here. Australitha's eyes immediately narrowed, he really understood something and was very worried. When the divine tree lifts his leg, the ground beneath him shakes violently, forcing him to change his posture. He has been standing still for quite some time, making his body a bit stiff and tired. But with this strength, he can't be gentle. The divine tree grumbles, humans are such troublesome creatures. The divine tree stands tall, fully restored, with abundant strength. In just a moment, he has regenerated half of his body that was blown away earlier. The divine tree makes an extremely arrogant and satisfied face, smiling humbly at Australith. Australith saw this disgusting face and couldn't stand it. This humble smile is truly terrifying and provocative, it's a sneer, a taunt. He couldn't stand it, it seemed like the divine tree was looking down on him. The ancient monster roared, "You have truly absorbed the power of the tiny human race. I will not respect you," and fired a green bullet at the speed of light. Of course, this attack was not strong enough because he did not charge energy. It was basically to probe the opponent. The divine tree saw the green bullet flying towards him and immediately reached out to catch it. The green bullet spun wildly but didn't have enough force to blow the divine tree away. The ancient monster's eyes narrowed, as if he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Although this attack was not a fatal one, it still contained several million units of spiritual power, which was not weak at all. What was happening was completely different from the divine tree's previous experience, and it seemed that he wanted to take this huge amount of spiritual power for himself. It was outrageous. Boom! The divine tree had indeed caught the bullet, and skillfully turned it into his own without losing any strength, and threw it hard towards the ancient monster. The ancient monster only had time to jump up and dodge, muttering "damn it" in his mouth. The toxic green bullet whizzed past his crotch in the blink of an eye. Immediately, this attack made Australith behind him a wasteland. This was just the beginning. A roar sounded right next to Australith, who had not yet touched the ground. A giant brown-red mouth opened wide and rushed towards him. The ancient monster was surprised by the combat speed. Chomp! A chilling crunching sound echoed, and the mouth had bitten off the ancient monster's head. The distance was too close and the attack speed was too fast, completely preventing the ancient monster from reacting. His head was firmly stuck in the mouth of the divine tree. Thanks to the protective armor, this bite did not cause any life-threatening danger, but the most dangerous thing was that this was the opening combo of the werewolf, wasn't it? Yes, the flying willow leaf technique has been activated, at such a close range. A bright green color emanated from the divine tree's mouth. This is a long-range attack, but used for an opponent who is close. The ancient monster's eyes narrowed, it was quite difficult to understand. He knew this attack, but had never seen a willow leaf shot from the mouth like this before. Moreover, this is a long-range attack, which seems a bit suspicious. A screeching sound like metal rubbing against each other echoed. From the divine tree's mouth, a huge willow leaf was shot straight into the ancient monster. The power was truly terrifying. The ancient monster could only lie still, with many cracks appearing on the head armor. The whole body was full of wounds, and now had to endure this provocative attack. This attack was too strong, as if it wanted to cut the city in half. Australith suffered a fairly heavy blow, flying thousands of meters away, his whole body wet with wounds, and the super thick and hard armor was about to give way. The owner of the future food chain was being beaten up, feeling like he was being tortured by someone weaker. This made Australith go crazy again. He roared in anger, "Hateful, hateful, hateful!" But before he could finish shouting, a huge punch came down from above. When the ancient monster realized it, it was too late. Boom! A loud shock wave rang out, creating a smoke column hundreds of meters high. Australith continued to be punched into a building, and this punch made fresh blood spurt out of his mouth. The tremendous pressure hit his lungs, causing him to spew out meaningless words. Divine Tree sneered, "So this is your true face?" It turns out that the thick armor on Australith's face had been knocked off, revealing his true face. A red face with large and small holes like pores. The Divine Tree continued, "So you've always been wearing a mask? Your true face is so ugly." The ancient monster seemed to be going crazy, emitting a strong black and purple aura, with a very agile face. He said in a demonic tone, "Go ahead and be arrogant, because you won't have a chance." Australith stood on the ground with 2 feet, his whole body glowing with a black and purple light full of death. Looking at him was like looking at a clown in a horror movie. He smiled horribly and said, "I have decided to take over the world." The Divine Tree's face immediately changed, staring intently at this clown. He was considering using all his strength in one blow to destroy his opponent. After all, the power he absorbed from the missile was gradually diminishing over time, as it was not essentially extracted from living creatures. Therefore, choosing to strike quickly and win quickly is the optimal strategy. Moreover, even though he revealed his true form, the clown still had not changed at all, still possessing that same power. Thinking of this, the Divine Tree immediately roared. Australith also roared like a madman, with a seemingly long, flexible, and soft body, rushing into battle, a final boxing match to end the game. Immediately, both of them approached each other. Australith brought his sharp claws back, quick as a cut, tearing apart the left side of the Divine Tree. A powerful blow, the Divine Tree immediately counterattacked with a round punch from the left, overwhelming power, a punch that sent the arm of the ancient monster flying. Not yet, the Divine Tree roared. 9 roots simultaneously attacked, each root turned into a dragon roaring madly, rushing towards the ancient monster. Australith immediately activated the magic shield, a purple magic bubble covering his face, to resist the powerful attack of the 9 super strong roots from the Divine Tree. Icy ocean. The entire combat area was frozen, even the smoke was frozen, and then, still an ice-type technique, the Ice Age. Activated, an entire area was frozen, with huge ice spikes growing. The Divine Tree continuously released its ice-type skills. He wanted to change the environment? A good idea. This really made Australith confused. But why didn't the Divine Tree just rush in and crush him? Why did he need to create a new fighting environment? Don't you see, after losing the outer armor, Australith was really fast and agile, attacking and causing great damage to the Divine Tree. Because of this, it was necessary to reduce his speed advantage with an unfamiliar fighting environment. The ancient monster looked around in confusion. The space became much colder, and because there was no thick armor to protect him, the ancient monster was really slower because his muscles had become somewhat stiff. But the ancient monster still wanted to take the initiative. He immediately used sound waves to attack. The Divine Tree activated crystallization to defend himself. His body was pushed back a bit, and his whole body turned into a crystal as hard as a diamond. The space seemed to be torn apart by this sound wave. This attack had a very powerful destructive force, especially causing deadly effects such as dizziness, tinnitus, and loss of balance, like what Chi-Zi had experienced before. Of course, weak opponents will be shattered into pieces immediately. This attack was really powerful, making the Divine Tree's body torn into many pieces. The Divine Tree angrily roared, "Get out of this world, get out!" The Earth Spike was activated. A huge Earth Spike pierced the ancient monster and hung him on the sharp nose of the Earth Spike. The sound wave attack immediately ended, and the ancient monster was stabbed by the sharp spike, making a painful sound. But since when, the Divine Tree had used its roots to wrap around the buildings over there, using them as weapons, lurking behind the ancient monster. Boom! The sound of 5 large buildings being thrown into one place at the same time created a shaking that shook the whole earth and sky. The panda is still observing the battle, looking thoughtfully in that direction. After all, he realized that he was still too weak and had not measured his strength. But in his eyes it seemed that this battle had a result. Australith is trying to maintain balance, while the divine tree is also breathing heavily. The ancient monster was angry and shouted, "What are you relying on to chase me away? What are you relying on to protect humans? Aren't you also developing by killing humans?" Australith continued, "What right do you have to pretend? Don't pretend to be a moralist anymore." Hearing this, the divine tree was really unhappy. With the intelligence and knowledge of humans inside him, the divine tree fully understood that this clown was cursing him as a hypocrite. The divine tree coldly said, "Don't misunderstand, I'm not doing this for humans, I'm doing it for my teammates, and what my teammates want. Moreover, you have hurt my teammates, and this is revenge." Speaking of which, the divine tree's eyes narrowed again, and his killing intent rose. Images of Chi-Zi being bullied appeared in his mind, making the divine tree even more angry. End of chapter 131.